go. Let's go. Let's go. I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out their night and joining us. This is Real Bread Life. I am Jay Rome. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. If you're watching us on Facebook, we appreciate you. If you're watching us on Instagram, we also appreciate you. You can also catch us on TikTok. The handle is Breadville. With that being said, get into a couple things real quick today. I just wanted to thank everybody for the engagement, the support, the feedback, the comments on all platforms is greatly appreciated. And without that, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. With that being said, for the people that engaged me this week on the Facebook group, in the group that engaged in the back and forth with the questions and the comments that I posted, email me. You know who you are. jug@realbreadlife.com. Got something for you. Again, those that engaged this week, earlier in the week, from Monday till today, email me. You know who you are. jug@realbreadlife.com. Let me know where you need me to send the things to. You don't have to give me your personal address, whatever address you want to have me send it to. I definitely want to reach out, and I got something for you. Again, thank you for the support, the comments, the back and forth, and the engagement. So with that being said, let's get into it a little bit. Today is Thursday. It's Thursday Night Live. Keeping with the format. Topic for today for me will be this. How or what do you do to maintain or sustain your daily or weekly routine, or just all the way around your process as it pertains to or relates to your delivery process and your business operational process, if that makes any sense. So what do I mean when I say that or ask that question? I'm just going to give you what it is for me. All the way around, it starts with when I wake up, and I have a simple routine. You know, I get up, shower, vitamins, make my coffee, drink my water, eat whatever fruit I'm going to have for that morning. Once I, do my self-care and get dressed and get out the door, my positivity that I listen to on the way to the sales center is a part of my early morning routine, whether it be 2, 3, 4, or whatever time I do leave. So that's a part of my morning pre-sales center / depot routine. And I get into my routine of getting to the destination. I start my truck, make sure everything mechanically is good with the truck, because the worst thing to do is load the truck, be ready to leave after completing my buying of my product, and the truck doesn't start. Whether it's a dead battery, I don't know, anything could be happening, or it's just someone stole a cat. Those things happen. Fortunately, not to me yet, but that's what I do. Start my truck, make sure that's tip-top shape, get into the depot, go through my order, make sure all my product is there. Whatever's not there, then I go into the loading of the truck. And the reason this came to mind was one of the things that was in the group discussion this week was about the loading, or, the prep for your deliveries, which would go into how the truck is set up before you leave to go and start your day. And the things I'm saying don't always just pertain to bread. It can be chippies. It could be chips, cookies, chips. It could be soda. It could be liquor. I don't know, whatever you deliver. It can be pallets that you're delivering. It can be whatever product you're delivering. We talk to independent operators, and that's the focus. Our narrowed down main target audience would be bread delivery business owners. But when we speak of people that drive box trucks and do deliveries and be out on the road, we're talking about a level of independence. So all the way around, it would be those people. So, we were talking about loading unloading, and the process that is used. And one of the comments that someone made, which is I was actually very familiar with, was, I was always taught this, what the person said, that you just load the truck and you get to the destination, go into the stop, see what you need, and then you pick your order. And there are a lot of drivers that do it that way. I personally don't do it that way. Not to say that I haven't gotten to stops, realized there was something else I needed in the store, and go out to my truck and get it. I don't go into the store, look at what's there, and then go back and pick the orders. I normally preset, break down my load, and build my stacks in order of delivery. And like the comment that was made by Taylor Made was in reverse, meaning she loads the truck with the last stop first and the first stop last, which would be at the back of the truck. That would be the smart thing to do. Normally, that is the way to do it. For those that don't know, there's different ways to load a truck. Some load all the product from front to back. Some load front to back with a aisle down the middle so they can pick from left to right. They put product on both sides of the truck. Now, whichever way is better for you is the way to do it. So I don't have a problem with either way. I mean, everybody's loading is their preference. So it is what it is. So with that being said, back to me and my routine: load the truck, get out, hit my stores in the order of delivery. And it's pretty much set the same way every day for me. The only time it changes is if I personally have an appointment or a scheduled shortened day for something that's out of my normal routine. And normally I stick to the routine. I learned that routine is best. And when sticking to the routine, it just makes everything move so much better. So the other reason why I try to stick to my routine is because it's timed. Timing is everything for me, and I don't know how everyone else feels, and you can speak to it on your own. Me with the timing, I like to, hold on a second. Jay Moore, what's up, good brother? Timing for me is very important because that makes me fall in line with everyone else that's delivering. Most of the stores I go to, they're on the same type of schedule, whether it's the Pepsi, the Coke, the chips, or, and even the other bread vendors. So that's very important for me as far as my routine goes. And a lot of doors I like to get to at a certain time because it allows me to get in and out, which sounds pretty self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised at the guys that freestyle and just mix it up and have such a longer and more difficult day. So that's me. That's how it works out for me. And once I get back from my stores, my last stop, normally the highway, depending on which day it is, I'm getting on the highway. Once I get on that highway, I'm heading back. Once I get back, I have a routine, whether it's no returns or it's returns and I'm not returning them to the next day, which normally I don't not do. I get with you in 1 second, B. Normally I don't. I always bring my returns back. I never ever keep them on the truck till the next morning. For me, that just turns into a little bit of a longer morning and I just don't want to deal with it. Once I'm done with the depot or the sales center, once I head home, I decompress in the car with whatever I'm listening to get into the zone or deal with my mental. And the reason I'm going through all these things is because everyone has a level of mental self-care that they should be attending to. If you're not, shame on you. I don't know anyone that doesn't have to deal with themselves, self-care mentally or whatever type of care it is. Your mental is very important. So that is what I do. I make my calls to my people that I talk to, and we go back and forth and we bounce things off of each other mentally, and that helps me. So that is a big part of my day, and it just really helps for me to maintain and sustain a level of sanity and discipline within my day. And Jay Moore, thank you for saying that. As far as emptying your truck, that's very important. Take all the empties off and the stale off of the truck. That's one of the things that I can say I don't do. I don't always take my empties off of the truck at the end of the day. I'm used to leaving. I do it in the morning before I load the truck, which is wild because everyone's different. And Brandon's going to come on here in a minute and say how he definitely takes his off of the truck at the end of the day. I know my partner takes his off in the morning as well, but he doesn't return to the depot. So it's a different story. And that's just me. And that's how my day goes. So hold on a second. Let me get B in here. I see the screen. It's got your name. I see the boss on my screen, but I don't see it all the way live. All right. So Brandon's not there. Yeah, Jay Moore. I definitely know how that goes. Thanks for joining. What's that? What do you mean when you say Pepperidge Farm does that a lot? It must have been something I was saying a minute ago. Hold on. I notice all bread guys at Pepperidge walk in the stores. Yes, they do. And Brandon could speak to that too, because he was one of those guys. They walk.
What's up?
First, hey, good evening. How you doing today, good brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I see you. I see you got a great connection today. So what I was doing was just, I don't know if you heard me when you were on before. I was talking about my routine and talking about the guys that go in, pick their stuff, then come back, see what they need, then come back. There you go. Nice. That's you got it the right way now. And then they come back. Yeah, it's great. So we were talking about the guys that go into the stores, look at what they need. And I know that Thomas, you guys do it, and Jay Moore was talking about a lot of the Pepperidge guys do it too, and I noticed that as well. The couple, there's two that I see. One does it, one doesn't do it too often. But what I noticed, I was gonna say the one that goes into Walmart with me doesn't do it, but I noticed he does. So you could speak to that as far as picking orders. I think he froze. So you heard?
Better.
Great. So, so speaking about picking the orders, you know what I mean? We were just talking about the routine and how, everyone has a different routine. And one of the comments earlier this week that I had in the Facebook chat was that, like, what's your routine like? And one of the guys was asking about it. So I was just talking my stuff.
Yeah. So I heard you talking about decompressing after you get done working, and everybody does, man. You're playing your whole day through your head, thinking about your next orders and all that. Who you got to call, what manager you got to talk to. Those are all the things that every bread guy does every day on their way back to the depot or on the way back home after the end of the day. That's all part of it. And as far as the question with the guy with he knows that the Pepperidge Farm guys go in and they check out their stores before they pull their orders. Absolutely, they're not like our company where we mainly do pre-setting and just bring in the orders because we order per store. That's how our ordering system goes. But I actually do go into my stores, not all of them ahead of time, but there are a few, like my slower moving stores. I'll go in, see if they had a good night, if they didn't have a good night, or if I'm limited on product, I will see where I can move product around. Like if somebody's heavy on plain bagels, but I know that another store is light on plain bagels, I'll go in, see what I need, change my order up a little bit so I can save some product for the other stores. Give me that.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. So when you you're all right, so let me ask you this. You do the Thomas and you go out and you check and you come back and you pick. Do you make your day faster? I mean slower? Because you have to do that, because you don't
If
preset
I
like you.
go into the store, if I go into a store, like if I roll up, there's my famous dog. If I roll up and just pull the order that I ordered and just unload, go into the store and go, then yeah, my day will be faster. If I go into the store prior to unloading, make adjustments and all that, that's going to make a day a little bit slower, right? It's all about time. But it depends on the day, it depends on the store. Once you've been on the route for a while, you'll know pretty much, what your store is going to need without even walking in there. But if you have certain days where you're heavy on stuff or you're light on stuff, excuse me, or if you need to move things around, then you go in. You go into the store, look around. But yes, it will make your day a little bit longer. What do you do with that?
Hold on a second. I don't know what I just did. Oh, what the?
We got all kinds of things going on here. We got my dog chasing my cat. My cat is crying like a little girl.
All right, listen. No, I got you. All right, so that was the one thing I was talking about with the. I wanted to get the self-care because I just had the thing when I was just thinking about what the people put in there and about I always go with the build together so we don't struggle alone. That's why I had put my shirt on. I figured that was a good theme for today. And unity, being able to work with people is the biggest thing that I find when you're in this business, because I speak about a lot that everyone, there's no one that does any of this stuff alone. And I know you have a unit, team of people, from family to friends and people you employ to help, make your day. And with the self-care, speaking about that for me, you don't go out every day to pack out. You know what I mean? You do when necessary, but you make sure you use your resources, which is your revenue, to pay someone so you can spend that time with your family, which is so dope. And as much as we're always up here talking about when you get into this business, you're married to it, you have to have the dedication. It's an everyday thing. And we talk about no days off. The thing that I want people to understand and realize is you can get days off. You have to plan and you have to pay for it. But if you're doing what you need to do business wise, it's not a problem to pay for it. So,
exactly.
And that,
I always, for the past, I've been in business for 28 years. So for the past 24 to 25 years, man, I worked every day. Wednesdays and Sundays are our day off, but I would still go out on Wednesday and Sundays to my major stores, like the heavy hitters. You go out there, you pull them forward, see what you sold, you do all that. Now that I've got so many years in, I'm actually, I pay somebody to go out on my days off. I have 9 stops. They don't do all 9 stores. He does about 5 to 6 of the stores, and that's an overkill. But I'm an old school guy. I believe in a lot of services. More service, the better. But he goes out, he packs out anything that I'll text him. So, for instance, say this was a Tuesday, right? Or
right.
Today's Thursday, actually. We'll use this week. So we had yesterday off because it's a holiday week, or we worked yesterday. We had today off. So when I got done working yesterday, I texted my guy who does my pack outs on my days off, let him know what stores I want him to go to, what they have for backstock. He goes in, This morning, he went in this morning, packed everything out. He does before and after pictures, gives me a picture of what the section looked like, what they sold off overnight, sends me a picture, which is an after picture of what it looked like after he packed everything out. If I have any backstock left, they'll send me a picture of that so that I constantly I'm aware I can adjust my orders as needed. You know what I mean? Because that's really, besides having your bread section look good 7 days a week, the most important part about going out, is you can see what the sell-off was so you can
Right.
adjust your orders. You don't want to be heavy. You want to be light. You want to be just right, you know? So for me, it works out well. When you're getting into the business, you may not have that kind of revenue where you can pay somebody to go out and pack out for you on the days that you should have off. But if you can't afford it, it's good for you, because everybody needs a day off, man. 7 days a week, it's very stale, very quick. It definitely wears you down. And I did it for
Long
20 some
time.
odd years, man. Yeah, long time. Yeah.
No,
Yep.
I get it. What I was saying, and again, one of the other comments we had was they were asking, how do you know? Basically, it came from, how do you know what to do? How can you preset? And I thought going in and picking the orders was the norm. And what I gave, the information I gave them was this, and everyone's is different. I've been so long and trained myself with my stores. And again, it's not 1,000 or 100%, but I know the codes and what I brought in from Monday to Friday, what I'm going to have to take out. Now, yes, they may beat that stuff up really bad, and I'm going to bring it in. What happens is when I come in, I may have to take out a little, but more or less, I know the codes and how they run. And with us in our bread, we have longer codes now. So this just when I go to my stores to pack out, and this goes back to being in there every day, more or less, even if I'm not delivering to a store, I may go in just to pack out if I'm in the neighborhood. So I'm going to know what needs to be brought in 2 days from now, kind of on a guesstimate. Will I be always 100% right? No, I've gone into stores and been a little light. And then, it may not always play out that way. But I'm going to say 75 to 80% of the time, I'm pretty spot on with what I think I need in the store. And that just goes to being out there enough,
And that really, I mean, for you and I mean, we're in the area, like the areas that we service. Our stores are pretty consistent on what they do per day and all that. And, you learn it. You got to, it actually doesn't matter what your territory is, because once you're in it and you're running every day, you're going to know that, all right, this Walmart, it's 100% every day, man. It just kills it every day. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to go in, because you're just going to send it in. You're going to fill the shelves. You're going to do your thing. But you're going to have those stores on your route, or your territory that you service, that are hit and miss,
Right. Right.
Like I tell everybody the same thing. It's an educated guess. When you're ordering, it's basically an educated guess. But if you're in your stores every day, you're gonna get it down, man. You'll get it down pat. You'll know what store does what. You obviously you're always gonna have those killer Walmarts or those killer Stop and Shops or the ShopRites or the Publixes, whatever. You're gonna have those stores that do good every single day. Like every day is the first of the month for those stores, and then you're gonna have certain stores that they do good in the first of the month. The first week or 10 days of the month, they do really well. After that, they slow down. Those are the stores that you have to pay a little more attention to later on in the month. And then you have the stores that you just can't predict, like a Target, maybe. Like you might have a Target that you walk in one day, you're completely full. You walk in the next day, you're completely empty. You know what I mean? But that's why you always have something ordered for them, so that, if they had that amazing night, you still have product for them. But if they didn't have an amazing night, that's why you go in to that store. You'll see, all right, they don't need anything, but I'll take this product and I'll bring it over to Stop and Shop. and I know I can dump it there, or I'll bring it to a Walmart. You know what I mean? So that's why, walking into your stores, it's not a bad thing. But everybody's going to have those stores on your route that are just amazing every single day. So you don't
Right.
have to walk in. That's where you can
Got
shave time off of your route.
Yeah, that's where. Thank you, and that's where Jay Moore he gave the comment, and it's up there. People can see it. He said that he doesn't pull up every store every Sunday, and Wednesday, just the majors, which we know, and that's speaking to what you were
Right.
saying. But every
Yep.
store could use a pull up, but he said he has to consider that gas and that time. You know what I mean?
And
And
personal time, man. Personal time. It's your personal time. I mean,
yeah.
there's
It's
no
gonna look.
reason for you to go to
It's
your
gonna look a little beat
small
up.
IGA store. Don't go to your
Right.
mom and pop 7
Right.
days a week. You're wasting your time. Just hit the major stores, your heavy hitters. If you have a route that has, say, 10 stops on it, but 5 out of 10 are major hitters, then go to those stores on your Wednesday and your Sunday. Do those stores, because the other
Right.
stores, they'll be fine, man. They can make it a day without seeing you. It's your
Yeah.
it's your heavy hitters, man. Just go there.
I got
Go there, pull it forward, take a look, see what you did. Because if your major stores did well, chances are your stores that aren't so major probably did pretty good too. So you can plan on that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So if your
exactly.
major store is slow, like if you're a super Walmart, if you have a super Walmart that is killer, like you and I have, if they had a slow day, you can guarantee the rest of your route had a slow day, right? If your major hitter is slow, the rest of your route is going to be slow. Or if your major hitter had an amazing day, you'll know that the rest of your route is going to go pretty smooth. It's going to be that's how it is.
Got you. Listen, Carolina had a question for you. So, hold on a second. Let me get that right here for you. Brandon, when you buy a new route, what are some things that you do to increase the sales outside of just improving on the ordering process if it happens to be broken? So I'm guessing he's assuming that, you get a new route. It goes to speaking to the gentleman we were talking to the other day about the Pepperidge route,
Yep.
and like, it's room for improvement. So what are some things you think that may need to be done, or what you've done in the past that can help a route to improve, or be a little better?
So
That's a good question.
And
that's a
thanks,
great
Caroline,
question.
for the question.
That's a really, really good question. So this is what I tell. I hear my dog squeaking on his toy, man.
Yeah.
He's obnoxious. He just doesn't stop. So this is something that I always tell everyone, especially people just getting into the business. Relationships. You need a relationship with everyone in every one of your stores. So your relationship starts right at the back door, where you go into the store to get received. Get a good relationship with the receiver. Okay. And then when you're on the sales floor, packing out your shelving area, get to know your grocery manager. Get to know your assistant grocery manager. Get to know the floor sweeper. I don't care who it is. If there's somebody that's in your store and you see them on a regular basis, be friendly, right? You have to sell yourself before you can sell your product. I tell everyone that. I know a lot of some people say to themselves, what do you mean? Well, that is what I mean. You have to be friendly. You have to get relationships, because if you want to build your route, everything is relevant. You want to get friendly with that receiver on the back door, because that's where it all starts, right? So let's say there's 4 guys ahead of you and you're just trying to get in the back door. And let's just use Walmart as an example. We don't get checked in at a Walmart, right? But a lot of times, if there's a Coke guy in there or a milk guy in there, they close that back door. You're in a parking lot. You're trying to get in. But they got a cameraman. There's a little TV screen. They know who's out there waiting. You get friendly with that receiver is going to open up that door. He's going to say, Brandon, come on in. because I don't get received in. You just got to go to the floor, right? Yep. All right, great. He'll open that door. That improves your day right there, right out of the gate. You're not waiting in the back parking lot like everybody else, waiting to get into the door.
So relationships.
The relationships are 100% best and easiest way to build up your route. If a grocery manager or a store manager sees you giving them service, because service, man, I always tell everybody, service, service, service. Those grocery managers, those assistant grocery managers, those store managers, when you're there on your day off, packing out, pulling forward, even if you have somebody else doing it, it doesn't matter. They know this guy, if like on a day off, they know who you are. You're not there, but they see somebody else pulling your stuff forward, putting up backstock. You're giving them 7-day service. Believe me when I tell you, they will keep that in mind. When it comes to resets, after every reset, there's always a little extra space here or there. That can go to you. That extra space is extra income to you. The best way to build your route without really doing much is outside displays. Now, I'm not saying don't, if you're a bread guy, you don't want to shoot for a display in a pet food aisle because that's not going to do you any good. But if you can get outside displays near a cash register or at the end of a bread aisle or the end of a chip aisle, like the popular aisles, if you can get like an extra display for the impulse buyers, the people that came in for whatever, the wife calls and said, I need a gallon of milk. And they're walking through and all of a sudden they see a little display by the register with your muffins or your swirl breads or something. They're like, you know what? Maybe they just got out of work. They're a little bit hungry. They grab that loaf of bread. Believe me when I tell you, I know it doesn't, to most people that doesn't, really make a lot of sense. But
yeah.
But if you think of yourself as a regular customer, like say you're not in this business ever, how many times have you gone to a grocery store to get one item and you walk out with 10 items, right? Bread, because I'm a bread guy, you hope it's one of those extra items that they didn't go in there for, but they saw it, right? So if they see an outside display and they say to themselves, you know what? I can go for an English muffin or I can go for a bagel. And they grab that package. Believe me when I tell you, it adds up. It adds up really quick. This is a strictly commission basis business. And, bagels aren't cheap. Muffins aren't cheap. Bread's not cheap, So the more they grab, the more money you're going to make.
So a couple of things that you're saying is relationships, consistency, being seen in the store a lot so that your face is familiar. Even if it's not you, if you got the person that's working for you, they know that your bread is always getting service so they feel better about you. And the displays. So going off of what you said about the displays, Jay Moore just asked, do you guys like cake or bread displays by self-checkout? Now, if you asking me, I don't really do that much cake at all, but I find what you said is what matters. And it could be cake, it could be bread, it could be the chips, which I'm sure Carolina could speak to. All those things near self-checkout. Why do people don't realize? I mean, I'm going to give you something, and this is for everybody who doesn't deliver a product like me, you, Jay Moore, or Carolina. And everyone's going to hear this and remember that I told them this. Every time you go into a Burlington coat factory and you leave the checkout, why do you think they have a line where you got to snake through an aisle and they put everything in that aisle? They can have you walk right to the register, but you got to go left, down, go right to get out. And this is in Marshalls now. And what's that? The TJ Maxx. They all do that same thing. And I notice it more in the Burlingtons. And if you look left or right, you got headphones, thermoses, slippers, every little thing. And then at the end, what's there? The coolers. You got the chips. You got the caramel popcorn. You got all these odds and ends. And it looks like a bunch of junk, but that's by design. And the same thing in the supermarket. Before you get to the register, and I remember this as a kid, you look to the right, Snicker bars, Reese's,
that's right,
the gum,
that's right,
the chips. No, I want one. Put that down. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
That's all there by design. And we had this talk a while back. How about when you get to the end of the you're going to the register and there's a soda there for $2.65 and it's a 16 ounce or 20 ounce bottle. You just left the aisle with 2 liters for $1.49. But you know what people do? Buy the $3 soda anyway.
That's
nuts.
Right. It's an impulse buy.
Conditioned
You're thirsty,
impulse
man.
buy. Yes.
You didn't realize it, like you didn't realize you were thirsty, but then you look, you see that cooler and it's ice cold, and you're like, man, I can go for a Coca-Cola. And then you look, you're like,
you said, look,
tell me I'm lying, man.
I need a soda.
Yeah, right. But tell me I'm lying. You grab that soda and you're like, holy shit, $2.49 for one little soda. You know, you're like, you're right there. You're at the register and you can taste this. You can taste it. You haven't even opened it yet. You're like, and you grab it anyways, you know?
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. Impulse buy, man. It's all about impulse buy.
So, like, I'm just saying that to Jay Moore. It don't matter if it's bread, cake, and like I said, Carolina can speak to it with the chips. Like, it is what it is, man. They pack everything in there. So next time you go to a Burlington, a TJ Maxx, or Marshalls, you go to checkout and watch how you got to walk down the marketplace of everything you didn't want or need, and they're trying to make you think you need it.
Listen, man, they carve it out. You have to go that way, you know. And it's really,
the amusement park snake line. You know what I'm saying?
It is, man. It really is. But grocery stores are getting to be the same way. They're just cramming everything near the register so that they get you on the way out. I don't want to say get you, but because sometimes you literally went in there for milk and bread, right, to a grocery store, but you got the milk, but you forgot the bread. But now there's a bread display. Let's say you're a Pepperidge Farm eater, right? Let's say your family normally eats Pepperidge Farm Hardy White, right? Your wife sent you to the store for a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread. You got the gallon of milk. You go to the register. All you want to do is get home. It's the end of your day. Shit, you forgot the bread. But yet, bam, there's a display of Arnold bread or Thomas's or Bimbo, right?
Yeah. It could be anything.
All right. Even though your family is normally eating a certain brand.
Yeah.
Right. What are you going to do? Are you going to leave that line, walk all the way to the other end of the store to grab that loaf of bread? Or are you just going to grab that loaf of bread that's right there and just continue to check out?
And go.
That's what you do.
That's what we do,
man. Time is money. Doesn't matter who you are.
And it's funny you say that because, as we know, the cooler for the milk's on one end, the bread's on the other, and they switch it all around. You know what I mean? So as you're walking by, you're like, "Oh, I'm right here." And this register's got one person in it. I'm definitely not missing.
Right. One person.
I'm next.
Who probably should be running a register to begin with.
Are next.
You know what I mean?
This bread and milk are next in this line.
That's right. Yeah. That's when that Snickers bar, that's when you're standing in that line and you got somebody ahead of you with a cart full of stuff and you got like 3 things.
Yeah.
All you want to do is go home. That's when that $3 bottle of 12-ounce soda and that $2 Snicker bar is priceless. Because you got time, man. You ain't going nowhere. You got to go through checkout line. You know what I mean? I'll take that soda. I'll take that Snickers bar.
Commercial.
And you're just going to sit there in line, miserable. You know?
Listen, what they say, you're going to be here for a while.
That's right.
Snickers commercial.
It's going to be a while. Yeah, Snickers. Yeah.
Yeah, so I get it, man. I get it. So, so displays, man, especially Jay Moore, so it don't matter what they put by those registers. You
can put shit in the bag. If it's near a register, you're gonna sell it, man. It's just the way it is.
And I'm sorry, the key words he said was self-checkout. Self-checkout.
Yeah.
It's the same. I guess it is the same concept. We're saying the same thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely is. I mean, self-checkout is becoming more and more popular. So
did you
every
like? I
store's
noticed
got a little bit more
in the Walmarts they have like a little section, like we're indented right next to the self checkout with like there's like it was grills. It's grilling season. They have grills, a couple of grills in there
Yep.
with the hots, the hams, the sodas. They got a whole cookout little section.
Oh
Grab
yeah,
what you need, basically.
charcoal,
The
lighting
mind,
fluid.
yeah, the mind game they got for you right there. So
Your
nah,
Takis,
man.
are normally at every Walmart. You'll see a Taki display during self checkout.
Oh yeah, and the company's pushing those heavy and hard. They're not playing with those, man. They're trying to get those out there, and hopefully it sustains, what they're doing because there's the push has been for a few years now, and it's actually picking up, and it's doing pretty good. So,
but to get back to the I believe it was Carolina that was saying about how you can build your route
the
up.
route,
Your route up, yep.
the things you could do.
Single route, every route out there is buildable. I don't care what route you have; they're all buildable. But it definitely starts with relationships, service, outside displays. Those are your three best ways to build your route. And if you do all three of those things, I promise you, I don't care what route you have or where it is, it will build up.
Prime example is your Sam's Club.
Yeah, my Sam's Club. Yeah.
Tell us the Sam's Club story.
So I had a Sam's Club. I'll just say my last route. Actually, 2 routes ago. I bought a route. It was averaging just under $8,000 a week for sales. Now it's not a real heavy hitter for a route. I paid a lot of money for the route because the person wanted a lot of money for the route. And the reason why I put up the money for the route is because I knew the potential. I literally, and I'm no one special, man. Anyone in this business could have done the same thing that I do. If you're willing to do those 3 things: relationship, service, outside displays. I bought a route that was doing $8,000, and when I sold it a short period of time later, it was doing in the 15s. Right? So I basically doubled the route. Yep. Now, not every route you can do that with.
Yeah,
but
even Johnny.
That is that route is a prime example. Is if you sell yourself, give them good service, get those outside displays, get friendly with everybody. And again, I don't care if they're a floor washer, if they're a porter, if they're a store manager, if they're a receiver. Sell yourself. Take your time. Hey, how you doing? How's your day going? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? If they want to talk, you talk. If they don't want to talk, you don't talk. Just make sure you're personable every time. Good morning. How are you? How's it going? Put your smile on. Even if you're having like the worst freaking day of your life, when you walk in that door, ding, smile. Hey, how's everything going? You know what I mean? You want to be that guy. I promise you, if you do those few small things, you'll be successful. And that's not just the bread business. I believe that's probably like anything that you're doing for a living. But, especially in sales. If you're in sales, it's all about service, selling yourself, being friendly, getting outside displays, man. 100%. Home run every time.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hold on a second. Jay Moore had asked. Jay Moore said, how are the Pepperidge bread routes in the East Coast 30-1 or 40-1 if the cash flow is average? What am I missing? Average meaning under 1,200 to 1,400 net per week, but the route is worth 180,000. They're 30-1 and 40-1. I'll let you answer that.
So, yeah, Pepperidge Farm. So, a Pepperidge Farm bread route. He's talking about the Northeast. In the Northeast, a Pepperidge Farm bread route averages 28 to 30-1. If you get a good deal, you'll get one for 25, 26-1. A average cookie route in the Northeast is right around 45-1. Pepperidge Farm is
Real quick
we're
before
talking
you
about all.
go any further, let people know what you mean by 30 to 1 and 40 to 1. Someone that's not familiar
Again,
will hear that and not understand. Thank you so much.
okay.
Sorry to cut you off.
So that's all right. So it's when we buy or sell a root, everything's based on ratios. So I'm going to use a very basic math example. Let's say you have a root that you're looking at buying, and it does $10,000 a week average, right? Sales, net sales. So if you buy a Pepperidge Farm root, let's say it's a bread root we're talking about. If it's a bread root, Pepperidge Farm gets 28 to 30 to 1. So if you're buying a $10,000 bread root from Pepperidge Farm and the seller wants 28 to 1, which the company will finance with 10% down, by the way, at 28 to 1, 10,000 times 28 would be 280. Okay. If you're buying a cookie root, and let's say they're getting 45 to 1, Pepperidge Farm, 45 times 10,000 is 450, right? And I know what a lot of people are going to be like watching this film are going to say, holy shit, that's a lot of money. It is. It is a lot of money. When you buy a beanbo root, or let's go with Martin's. I won't even talk about our own company. Well, let's talk about Martin's potato bread. They get about 25 to 1. So if you're buying a $10,000 bread root from Martin's potato bread at 25 to 1, it's 250. If you buy a Arnold Sara Lee root from Beanbo, the company finances 13 to 1, but most of us usually want a little bit of a kicker on the back end. But let's say you buy it at 15 to 1, right? Or 21, say 20 to 1 for easy math. A $10,000 root, 20 to 1, that's $200,000. Now, for anybody who's looking to get into the business and you're thinking of these numbers and you're thinking to yourself, man, that's a lot of money. One, it is. But two, it is, right? It is. But you're going to, if you have a $10,000 root, it means you're making $2,000 a week. Okay. So that's 100,000 gross. Take away your root payment, take away your fuel, take away all your everyday expenses. You're going to be somewhere around 75 to 80, right? It's not a bad paycheck. Your goal is to buy that root that's averaging $10,000. Build that root up to $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a week, so that the extra money that you put onto that root now is paying for your root payment, your fuel, your insurance, all your expenses, and you're still making $2,000 a week. I've been doing this for 28 years. I've never made less than six figures, right? And that's the honest to God truth, because you got to be dedicated. Trust me, I know it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a mortgage on a house. It's not a 30-year loan. You either do a 5, 7, or 10-year loan. Once that loan is paid for, you're good. Or if you own a home and you've had a regular job for a long time, whatever, and you have like a home equity line of credit, go that route. Buy it outright. Look at America. Look at that cute little doggy. But that's how the ratio works. I don't want to get off track.
Yeah,
but that's how it works.
So I hope Jay Moore, I hope that helps. That was the breakdown, and again, that's not just for him; that's for everybody. But thank you so much for sharing. And I like to always reiterate what it is, because we say it a lot, and we're so used to saying it and hearing it that I want to give credit to the people that we've been talking to lately, and they've been looking at routes. And while they've been looking at routes and looking for routes, they've been using that formula to understand how much it's worth, if it's worth it or not, and then getting back to us and doing the breakdowns with us and on their own as well. And they're making some progress, and I really I'm happy to say that there are people that are closing on routes and in the process of, coming around the corner, like around third, if it was a baseball diamond, and they're almost at home. So, I'm glad that it's working out for them. So, with that being said, let's keep it going. Okay.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much for that, B. Jay Moore, thanks for your question. Carolina, appreciate you, good brother. And for everybody that was on Instagram, thank you so much for checking in. Lyle, D-Train, Sassy, who we got here? Larry, Carlos, I see you, good brother. Tiger, and I collect sports cards. I see you. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody on the other platform. It's hard for me to go back and forth. I'm working it myself. B, thank you for taking the time out. I will see you in the morning. You catch us everywhere, Real Bread Life on YouTube, Real Bread Life on Facebook, Real Bread Life is Breadville on TikTok. And that's all I got for now. Stay blessed. Keep stacking.
Go Sox.